Today, over 1 billion children in the world live in poverty. At Help Heal Humanity, our goal is to connect children in need with people like you who want to make a difference. Our student sponsorship program helps provide children with the necessities for a healthy and successful start to life. When you sponsor a student, you're not only giving them the gift of education, you're giving them the best chance for a brighter future. 100% of your donation supports the tuition fees, uniforms, textbook, and school supplies needed to thrive in a safe and healthy learning environment. Sponsor a student now and be the catalyst for their brighter future. Today, over
Hello, everyone. Welcome. And you know what? I forgot to turn on my light. And I'm frozen. Okay. Anyways, there I am. Oh, there I am. How is everybody tonight?
Awesome.
Doing great. Well, you know, this is the Diamond Perspective panel show. And one of the things that we thought we would talk about today, and welcome, this is the first Thursday of every month we come live, and we never know who's going to come on, you know, how many are going to come on, and it is one of the fun things about this show. However, we did think we would talk about, you know, this is the end of the first half of the year. And gee, you know what? Am I where I thought I would be at the end of the first half of the year? And so that's what we're going to be talking about, because so often we can get caught up in up here. And because maybe in something of part of your life, you are exactly where you know you're supposed to be. Your numbers are right, whatever it is. Or you're saying, oh, yeah, the first half of the year is gone already, and I haven't accomplished anything. And those are the two extremes. But there's a place in the middle. So that's what we're going to talk about. So if you're somewhere in the middle, we would love to have you chime in, put comments, and just let's chat about it. So anyways, but first of all, we'll introduce each other. Well, no, I'm going to introduce myself. You're going to introduce yourself. I don't have to introduce everybody. Anyways, I'm going to be your host for tonight. I'm Barbara Ellison. I'm founder of Wellness Playroom, for the best version of you, because I'm on a mission to make happiness the norm, you know, rather than the exception, because I truly believe that each and every one of us deserves to lead a happy, healthy, financially free, abundant life. And if you can get even just one thing, one tip, we're going to be talking about some tips and strategies that we've used and that worked, or some that we've used that didn't work. Because you know what? There's both sides of that. It's the law of polarity. There's both sides of every single solitary situation. So that's who I am. So now we'll go to, Karen's to my left. Hi, Karen. How are you doing?
Hey, I am awesome. Awesome, awesome. I am Karen Stultz, and I am your awesomest mentor to help women in transition make the next phase of their life the best phase of their life with the Awesome Life Success System and the Heart Energy techniques to help you live and thrive and have more focus and more fun and more financial freedom.
Exactly. Okay, absolutely. And of course, America's Supermom. It still amazes me.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Barbara, and it's good to see you, Karen. I am America's Supermom, but also Lachelle Atkins. I have 15 children, and I am a vitality coach. So I've had my own story of overcoming 13 years of depression and 3 hospitalizations. So now I train ambitious professionals on how to navigate through the chaos of everyday life and transform it into clarity and confidence with a smile. So I'm excited to be here today.
Yeah. Cool. And I mean, it is so fun to see what everybody does and to hear what everybody does. And the thing is, though, we all have the same kind of things that we want to do. We want to make a difference in the world, especially in the world of women. The Dalai Lama has said that the 2000s, this decade is going to be the decade of the woman. And one of the things that I truly believe that has more and more of us women band together, we can go do so much more than we ever could by ourselves. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So Karen, and here's Carol.
Hey, Carol.
Hey. And so, well, Carol, we just kind of got started, and we are going to introduce. I see. I've said it again. I have to introduce each other. I forgot introducing everybody on my brain. Anyways, so introduce yourself and who you are and what you do, and then we're going to talk about where we are in our year.
Okay. Well, I'm Carol Henderson, and I have Life by Design. I help people to design their lives so that they can spiral up instead of spiraling down. It goes with the words of your mouth, your thoughts. Every cell of your body is listening in on your thoughts, and before you can say something, which everybody talks about words of their mouth, but your thoughts become words. And so you really need to back it up and even watch your thoughts as well as your words. So that's kind of what I do. Yeah. And I have a podcast with Miss Barbara Ellison, and we are the Mavens of Motivation. So join us there.
And it's absolutely so much fun to have people of like-minded. Like we just recorded one of our shows and talking to a young man and had similar thoughts. That we have to go within to see where we are going to make an impact. So let's start. So who wants to start? Where are you in your year?
Well,
all right, come on. One of you has to.
I'll start. Yeah, the fact is that I was not where I wanted to be by 6 months into the year. And I have to correct you a little bit, Barbara. Sorry about that. We are not halfway through the year. We're beginning the last month of halfway through the year.
Oh, that's true. May is only 5. Oh, brother.
So we have another month to play catch up. And that is exactly what I ended up doing. I ended up playing catch up and found an accountability partner that really has helped to the point that everything for the last 5 months has basically, 4.5, has basically been achieved in 3 weeks. Everything.
Wow.
So it's absolutely possible. It just needs to have some accountability with somebody that you know, like, trust, and respect. it all comes down to that respect and your desire to create what you want to have. So it is absolutely, for me, I could not do it with the support of friends and family. I couldn't do it. Friends and family are wonderful. They're always supportive. They're great, but they don't care whether you do it or not. Come on. They don't care. They're not going to keep you accountable. You can say, yes, this is what I want to do, and this is how I'm going to do it. And they say, oh.
Isn't that the truth?
So finding someone that knows what you want to do, and if you don't know, helps you get on that path and create that accountability. So that's what I'm doing for others right now. It has been such a dynamite, wonderful escalation in the last 3 weeks that my partner and I actually are creating a software program that is, he's creating it. I'm inspiring him to create it. And it's going to be, it is amazing to help people stay accountable if they want to do it by themselves, but also having the resources if they want to have somebody else guide them along the way. And it only takes 15 minutes a day.
Cool.
So it really, yeah. So 5.5 months of playing tiddlywinks changed with the accountability.
And it can be, absolutely, it can be done. So how about, so who wants to be next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
I love this. I just did a live about this earlier today about, where I'm at, where we can, how we can reframe things if we're not where we want to be. But I think for me, I am really excited about being able to be present. So my word for the year I thought was synergy, but I have really just found that it's really more about being present, about really being focused and intentional with my time, the people that I'm around, the words that I say, the things that I do. And so as a result of that, I have really accomplished a lot of things that I hadn't even anticipated. One of the big milestones for me was our 10th child out of 15 graduated from high school. So we just have 5 more to go. And so that was a major milestone, and being able to take that journey with her in spite of COVID and all the things that she had to overcome. It has been quite a challenging time, but we made it through. So that's something that is well beyond what I anticipated. And I was an international best-selling author. I was a part of a book collaboration that I hadn't even put on my list of things to do, and was able to do that. So just also doing things that I feel have impacted my connections and people that I contact on a daily basis. I've been doing a lot of self-development studies through books, and then hosting those studies on live platforms, live audio rooms. So for me, I'm excited about the next half of the year. Just being able to take this time now after school is out with my kids and just be present and planning. Just taking that time to say, okay, where am I at? Taking time to reflect. Because I know for many years in the past, you would just go, 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 not even think about it until you look up and say, oh my gosh, it's Christmas. What have I done? So just being able to have that time to reflect. I have a lot of gratitude and grateful for conversations like this that hold me accountable and keep me focused on what's important.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Carol, how about for you?
Well, I'm very excited about this year, where things are going. Uh, you and I got our podcast up at during the holiday season. Got over 100 shows up on YouTube and are gaining some traction there. It kind of kicked my backside to get that done because we like, let's do this. It's like, okay, we need it done by the first of the year. And so that was, could be called a stupid move, but it's something.
Yeah, but we did it.
Yeah, we did it, and trying to get everything kind of coordinated there. But just recently, I had gotten to where I was quite comfortable, and this realization kind of came to me this week. Comfortable. I live on a lake. We have chickens, we have peacocks, we have tons of wildlife. In fact, today, two mama turkeys brought their babies up to our house. Let Keith look at them and such. So, and they're wild turkeys. We have deer and just all the things. In fact, a mountain lion went down our driveway. Not before last, and just happened to see him. It was a very large one. So I got comfortable sitting up here, sitting on Zoom, going to town just 2 times a week. I'd always wondered, what would it be like to truly live here in this little town? And I got more and more comfortable with that. And then it was like, do I really want to go in town on Wednesdays and Fridays? And now things have taken a total shift. I have been asked to be the ambassador for an online networking company that is doing face-to-face meetings in person. And that has had me in town. This is day 4 this week that I've been in town, and I've got the next 2 days in town, and it's a 45-mile drive. So it's kind of like, okay, shift. It will not continue doing that, but I'm very excited about where this shift is taken. I would highly recommend being an ambassador for this company because it's a local ambassadorship in your community. So if anybody's interested in that, it's great for your company, great for meeting new people and then seeing what you do aside from that ambassadorship. And it's free to everybody. That's the other thing. There are no fees to be in this networking, and yet it's still in person. So anyway, that's kind of where I am here going into the second half of the year. First event will be November 14th. No, June. Tell me, you know what that is. Our first meeting will be June 14th. So really exciting about that.
This year has been just a year of firsts a little bit for me. One of my things at the beginning of the year was that I have got to get myself organized to automate some things, to get rid of some things that were not serving me, those kinds of things, and just to get organized, let go of some things, add other things. And one of the things that I have really realized in this past couple of months was that I have felt for years now, I have felt like I was in a jigsaw puzzle. And that all my outside pieces, because they were easier to find because they're straight and you can find your outside pieces. But then you have a little 4 or 5 pieces right here, and then you might have 4 or 5 pieces up here, and you might have 4 or 5 pieces down here. And yet now it just seems like all of those pieces are fine. I'm finally getting to the center of the jigsaw puzzle, and they're all coming together. And that is what is absolutely the most fun thing, when you have clarity of who you are, who you serve, what you do, why you do it. Because I know so many of us and people that I've talked to and my clients, we start businesses and then go, okay, well, let's just start a business and let's see what happens. Yeah, well, that doesn't always work. And so now it's been a learning process. And even though I've taken some, ups and downs and turns and trips that were like, ooh, that wasn't quite the way I wanted to go, it has been absolutely a fun journey. And I think once we can all look at it as that it's a journey. And some things are going to be really good for you. Other things you're going to be like, oh, well, that didn't work. But celebrate the things that did work, that you really loved, and then just let go of the things that didn't, and quit beating yourself up for the things that didn't. And I think that's been, I've given lip service to that for so long, but this year I have really embraced it. That, that's not something that I should be doing. And one day I called Carol and I said, Carol, I have been doing this, and I was beating myself. What's wrong with you that you can't get this? And then finally it was like a check of the spirit. Well, are you really supposed to be doing it? And it was like, no.
Barbara, can I say something? Go. Do you have another platform running? Because you're echoing real bad.
I do not.
Okay.
I do not.
Okay. I didn't know.
Barb's doing the back of the house. Barb, we're hearing an echo. But we'll see. Hopefully. Yeah. Nope.
Yeah, I don't hear it too much. It's a different sound, but I don't hear the echo.
Yeah. It's almost like the last consonant of her words are coming through.
Yeah. No.
Okay. Anyway, I didn't know.
And I need to apologize to everybody here. You see me bouncing around and scratch. I have a tick running around somewhere, and I apologize. So that's why I had to get up and move. Didn't find him, but he's here.
You find him before you go to bed tonight.
Yeah, guaranteed.
Okay, so let's talk about that kind of stuff. One day, I'm going to tell on Carol.
Oh no!
One day, we were on our podcast, and she had a moth. The moth floated. She was like, and I mean, you can't do anything about it. I mean, you just can't.
Yeah.
So we just laughed.
Yeah,
well, I'm gonna
have fun with it.
First one, we've had this. We live in the country, and they're called mesquite moths. And we had this little time period a month ago that they were horrific, and it came up from south up to here. My friend that owns a fur store had people calling her right and left saying, I've got to bring my coats in now, and sending her pictures of like 100 moths around a light fixture in the house type situation. Well, I went and put on my jacket that I was going to wear because it was chilly, and there's Barbara was there for that one too, and it's running around. I found one, okay, and I got rid of it, and then it's running around, and I'm going because there was a live moth inside my clothes, and it tickled. Less damaging than a tick, but still very unnerving. And then when we got it, the second one came up while we were filming, and I'm going.
But why I love this is that because when something like this happens, like I remember when my cat knocked over my virtual background in the middle of a podcast. Oops. Oh, well. And, but so often, don't you find that people let stuff, but what if something like that happened to me while I was doing it, and they let it stop them? You know what? So what? This is, I love bloopers when you see some of the famous people who absolutely lose it. One of my favorite videos is Elvis when he was trying to sing Love Me Tender, and he was absolutely cracking up. He could hardly get the song out, but it was the funniest video because it shows that you're human.
Yeah, but that's where we've been programmed by media to
Yeah.
think just like I thought I was the only person in the world that didn't live in a 2-story house. I moved it to Beaver, and Father knows best. And I'm like, and so they programmed us to think life is perfect. And it wasn't until people started doing these podcasts and coming out of the model and talent industry like I did. I mean, I resisted it for a long time because it's like, oh, what if they could see the dust? Or what if this doesn't look right? Or, all of those things that I thought, and in my industry, it did happen. I mean, going through and making sure everything, and when you're, putting a picture in, that it's exactly the right size and the right proportions and etc. So, but media has taught us that, and we're having to unprogram. In fact, the show we just recorded, we broke up at the beginning of it, and all three of us were just laughing like crazy people. And yeah, we recouped, and I said, I don't edit. And our guest said, oh, good.
Yeah.
So
I think people are realizing that they
edit. I'm not going to spend the time and effort to edit.
right. But I think people are realizing that others would much rather see somebody that's authentically human
Perfectly imperfect.
to be perfectly imperfect.
So true. Well, and I think also, the content is designed to be somewhat behind the scenes and day in the life, true to what's going on. When you think about the media of being on the news or certain shows, it is polished and edited and, down to a certain time frame, because there's commercials and all this
Right.
other footage that goes into that package. But when you're just showing behind the scenes and, talking about what's really going on in real time, that pressure of being perfect is removed, so I think that has a lot to do with it as well.
Well, and I don't know how many of y'all remember when Roseanne first came on, brand new
Yeah.
show, and how it rocked the world that they weren't the Leave It to Beaver type household. They dealt with real a world of problems. They, weren't that perfect body weight and all of the things. I mean, it was very cutting edge for its time for many years.
Right. Yeah. I mean, people, I think we grew up in a society where like for me, that's one of the things that I think for me was that I went after my husband passed away. I had no idea of who I was outside of all the labels that I had put on myself of being a daughter, and then being a wife, and then being a mother, and then being a divorced failure. Oh, yike. And then I was a success again, because then I was a wife again, and then I was a grandmother, and then I was a widow. Who was Barbara in all of that? And
It's
now
labels.
it was
labels
all-
we put on each other.
all the labels. And I think that's one of the most important things, that we as women can get rid of, that stereotype that we have to be everything to everybody. And one of my biggest things that I share with my clients is that don't compare your everyday life with someone else's highlight reel. How often do we do that?
I don't remember who said it, but I liked it even more. Don't compare yourself now to somebody else's middle.
Yes.
Because we're always growing, we're always changing, we're always moving forward. So don't compare yourself now to somebody else's middle, and have some fun along the way. When I said I'm going to start a podcast, it was like, well, that's hard. Don't you know that's hard? You don't have the resources.
Right.
You don't have the equipment. You don't have. And I said, really? Why not? Why not? I have my computer. It has a microphone. It has a camera.
Right.
And I have my platform, and people come or they don't, but I'm going to have a good time doing it.
Right.
And that is, my guests have been the absolute most awesome people in the world. I love, including you guys here. I mean, they are the most awesome people in the world. And yes, now it's a lot more polished. Now I have different equipment. Now I have better cameras. Now I have,
Right.
but if I had let it stop me because people had said it's hard,
Right.
I didn't know why it was supposed to be so hard. I had an intention. I needed to meet people in my world, not people that were surrounding me, because that was not moving me forward. So I needed to find a new group of people.
Right.
And how do I do that? I do that with a podcast and have a good time with it. That's all there is to it. Just have a good time.
Right. And that's one of the things for me too, is by having a podcast, I bring on guests who I want to learn from.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And why not? It has just been such a blessing to learn something. It's like, oh, I never thought of that way. I've never thought of it from that angle, because every one of us looks at everything in a slightly different way.
So true.
And when you
if
change
you
your
can learn
truth,
one thing, yes,
when you change your perspective, you change your truth.
right,
And how do you stay focused? You stay focused with your desire, with your intention.
Yeah.
That has become one of the biggest things that I do now for all of my clients and in accountability is, what is your intention behind it?
right,
Even getting out of bed in the morning. What is your intention for getting out of bed in the morning?
right,
And it better be something fun. It better be something that satisfies you inside.
right,
Because if you're not satisfied inside, you're just going to make it miserable for yourself and everybody else around you. So what is your intention? What is your intention in saying this thing? Are your intentions honorable? Are they to help somebody move forward? Are they to clarify? Are they to hurt? What is your intention?
yeah. Oh, thank you, Conchita. Yeah,
Oh, you're sweet, Conchita. Thank you.
you're sweet. Yeah, but it's absolutely the truth, and I think as more and more women are making it known that we can do it, that we can be authentic, that we can make a difference. We're gonna change the world.
And guess what? When you are authentic,
Mm-hmm.
the world doesn't collapse. It is so cool.
Right.
All these years as a people pleaser and self-doubter, I thought the world was going to collapse. And then I found out, no, it only gets better.
It gets better. Right. Right. And one of the things for me is that when you are authentically you, it's like you give other people the opportunity to be authentically them. And that's how we all grow.
I think a lot of people need that permission
Yeah.
to be your truth. And if you don't know who your authentic is, which Barbara was talking about it before, who the heck am I? I was the same way. Who the heck am I?
Right.
I'm a mom. I'm a wife. Who am I?
Right.
And when you find your values,
Mm-hmm.
it gets clearer who you are. And when you find your gifts, it gets real clear who you are. And oh, how freeing that is.
Yes. Yeah. And it doesn't apply just to women. I had one of my clients that he was in financial services. And so we were just talking about, well, why, how did you pick financial services? And he was telling me. And I said, well, if you weren't doing financial services, what would you be doing? And he looked at me in total blankness and went, well, I've never thought of doing anything else. I said, so if you did, what do you think you would? And lots of times it's from the time we are kids. But then you get caught up in life because then you have a mortgage, you have family, you have bills to pay. And so now you're kind of stuck in what you're doing because you don't want to give up the security. And then finally he said, you know what? I've often thought about that. I wouldn't mind doing this. And so I said to him, I said, so what can you do in the next 2 weeks to move that one step closer? And he finally came up with something. Well, he came back 2 weeks later, and it was like he was a changed man. It was like exactly what you just said, Karen. It was like I had given him permission to be something other than what he had been for his entire life, and he was in his late 40s.
Well, and I think, it starts out, like you said, from childhood, because, we want to please our parents or be a great example for the family, and so we begin from a young age to follow other people's voice. Exactly. Rather than have that inner knowing of what our voice is. Right. So it's like we go around the world to come back to us, to find ourselves. It's so crazy. That's one of the things that I think, we really should be mindful of and mirroring for our children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, because it is important to know who you are from a young age, because it really can help eliminate a lot of the trauma by trying to fit into a mold that you're just, you're a square peg trying to fit into a round hole.
Right. And I think don't you find, I don't know the rest of you, how do you think of this? So many of the young people now, they're so afraid of, what are they going to think?
Right.
Well, who's they? And why do you care?
But that's part of the age. And it's part going back to the programming. And just like, Mom, you've got 15 kids. I was one. So, I mean, if something was left in the floor, they knew who did it. I tried to blame it on the dog. It didn't work. And things like that. And so it was drilled, and my mom was a teacher. And she said, don't you, and my last name was Fulps. It's very odd name, not common. It wasn't Smith or Jones. And so she said, don't you ever besmirch the name of Fulps, because I have to teach in this school district. And if I can't raise my child right, how do you think they're going to let me raise their children or work with their children? Because they didn't think about it raising them at the time. But, I lived under that umbrella of the perfection, and it is people pleasing, but it was more, have to rather than want to, and so there's all that I had to break free of, and then my dad was a perfectionist, German background, and he was, so, just from both sides, I didn't have any wiggle room. So,
So anyway,
it's all good wherever you are right now. We were talking about the 6 months into the year, and whether you are somebody who is working outside the home, whether you are somebody who is working online inside the home, whatever it is that you are working, we're all working. Come on, let's be real. We're all working, no matter what you're doing. We are all working, especially America's Supermom. Oh my gosh. Oh my word. And 5 still to go before they graduate high school. I can't even imagine. My grandchildren just graduated from college, and it's like, oh my gosh, where did that time go? Anyway, but no matter where you are,
Mhm.
we are 6 months into the year.
Mhm.
Time goes faster and faster. But the question I would like to ask is, where are you now and where do you want to be by the end of June?
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. And
And
do it a day at a time. Where do you want to be at the end of, like start tomorrow morning? Where do you want to be at the end of the day?
exactly.
Do you want to reach out to 2 people and say, hi, how are you doing?
Mhm.
It doesn't matter what it is, because every day we have the opportunity to make a difference in somebody else's life.
Yes.
And when we reach out to people,
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody yesterday and she said, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea how this was going to go. I didn't know, and I was a little nervous." And I said,
Mhm.
"I only work with friends.
Mhm.
So we're friends? Everything good?" Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She said, oh my gosh. Oh, that's wonderful. I want to work with you. You only work with friends.
Yes.
And then
Exactly.
again today, it was, yes, where are we going to go for tomorrow? What are we going to do? What is the next one step?
Right.
And it makes all the difference in the world
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
find the right person to help you, whoever it may be. The people on the queens here have one purpose of importance tonight, in my personal estimation, and that is to share the wisdom that you can be anything you want to be, no matter where you are starting right now. Yes, indeed. Indeed, clarity is the key, America's Supermom. It really, truly is. You need to have that, but you also need to have somebody that you can not just know, like, and trust,
Mhm.
but someone who has been there before
Right.
to guide you, not to tell you how to do it, because everyone is different, everyone is unique, but to guide you.
Right. Yeah.
All
And,
right,
and,
I'm off
yeah.
my pedestal here.
And that's what we said. We said at the beginning that we were going to talk about tips and things. This is what it is. Sometimes people think that tips and strategies have to be these earth-shattering things, but they're not. Some of them are, absolutely, but some of them can be just these little mind shifts. What has Barb's just saying here, what things have not worked? Well, there have been a couple of things for me. Just, oh yeah, I shouldn't yell it. And off the top of my head, I can go, well, one of the things that I was going to do was I was going to start a different project to get some of my automation done. And I was going to town on it and I was struggling. And it was like, and then finally I said, why am I trying to do this myself? And that's when I found my friend Rita. And guess what? She's hand holding me. And now I have 2 landing pages. I have, my funnel started where I was trying to do it myself, going, what's wrong with me that I can't get this?
Well, and then you start beating
We
up
can't do
on
it ourselves.
yourself and telling yourself how bad you are, and
Yeah.
start doing all that mind talk that I brought up earlier of just spiraling down, like the goldfish in the bowl, and you just kind of spiral around till you're gone because you let that bad self-talk tell you you're stupid and you can't and you'll never amount to, and all of those things, when that's not true. That's not
Well,
true. You can't.
It's like Henry Ford,
Right.
Exactly.
Whether you think you can or you can't, you're going to be right.
Mhm.
And the more we tell ourselves that we can't do something, that we're stupid, that we're a failure, that we're no good. First of all, look at what is going on around you.
Right.
What is helping you create that mind trash?
Right.
And
What are you putting in that's adding to that trash?
Or who is around you?
or who? Yeah, what is your environment?
around
Who is around you? What is around you? How are you eating?
Yes.
Mm.
Like last night, I felt horrible. Karen, did you just have a half of family size M&Ms? Yeah. Maybe that contributed to where your headspace was.
Mhm.
So these were important.
Sorry about that. You know, real life behind the scenes.
Nothing. I love. There was a program that some colleagues of mine put on. Have you ever heard of Anastasia Nitri? She's marvelous, and she's not so big in the world now that I have found. But in any case, Anastasia Nitri was very big in the coaching world, and she said, "You know what? We didn't start off like we are. We didn't start off, being multimillionaires and having all of our programs selling out. And we didn't have all of this stuff and the perfect life and the perfect relationship. We didn't have that. So I am going to show people that they don't have to feel badly about themselves." And she had a program. It was called Let's Get Naked.
Mm.
And she called all of the big coaches that I followed, and they said, "Oh yeah, it's true. No, our first 3, 4, 5, 15 times, we lost it all. We didn't think that we were going to be able to get forward." So I am telling you, anyone who is listening here tonight or after the fact, this is something that everybody goes through.
Yeah.
You're not alone in that feeling of, who am I?
Right.
How can I do this? Barbara can do it. Carol can do it. America's Supermom can do it. Karen can do it. Yeah, not all the time. We all need help. We cannot do it ourselves.
Right. All right. Ladies, this has been absolutely a fantastic conversation. So I want to take just a couple of minutes to everybody share how people can get in touch with you, the best way to do it. And so, Karen, let's start with you.
Well, the best way to get in touch with me is through my podcast, actually, at awesomelifepodcast.com. I would love to have you join us and listen in and leave comments. awesomelifepodcast.com.
Cool beans. Okay, America's Supermom.
Well, I want to say this has been wonderful, guys. I love taking time to reflect and think about how I can always be better and evolve. The best place to get a hold of me is through LinkedIn. I'm on all social media platforms, but I'm there pretty regularly with programming and things of this nature. So thanks for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Carol?
Okay, I have Carol Henderson Life by Design at gmail.com is a good way to reach me. Or you can reach me at on YouTube as Methods of Motivation. So reach out there.
Okay, I'm Barbara Ellison, and on Facebook I'm Barbara Lunan Ellison, and on LinkedIn I'm Barbara Ellison, and so the Wellness Playroom. And so thanks everybody for coming. I hope you enjoyed the show. I just really encourage you to, if you heard even one thing and you can hear my dog. What if you heard even one thing that you thought, oh, wow, I haven't thought of that before, share it out. And so just so that you can make a difference in the life of somebody else. So we're saying goodbye for this month, but we'll be back next month, the first Thursday of the month at 6 p.m. Central Time. And so absolutely have an awesome day and enjoy the rest of your month. So have a